Breaking news from Denmark for all healthcare professionals, especially nurses. Denmark has introduced a new quota system and slammed the door on all non-EU nurses. And it will be no longer possible to get a residence permit to obtain an authorization to work here as a nurse in Denmark. What it means and why is it happening? Who does it get affected by this? We'll look into this video and make sure you stick to until very end because I also have a good news. Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Aditya. I make informative videos about Scandinavia, especially life here in Denmark. I talk about a lot of different topics, and if you're interested, please subscribe to my channel. So what's happening? So Denmark has just implemented a quota system in healthcare, especially for nurses, and the value is set to 0, which means it will no longer provide a new residence permit to seek an authorization to work here in Denmark as a foreign nurse, especially non-EU. So there are different laws for EU nurses, but we are talking about non-EU here specifically. And why is it happening? I will discuss that in a moment. But from October this year, this rule has come into an effect, and until from October this year until 31st of December 2026, which means in 2027 you will be able to apply for a residence permit and seek for an authorization. And there's also a good news which I will discuss in a moment. But what happens to the accompanying family members for the people who already applied and granted the residence permit? So people who applied before and got the residence permit before October, before this rule came into effect, they are fine because their families can also apply based on their visa and get a residence permit. But what about the people who maybe sent their applications but didn't get the residence permit before the 7th of October? Unfortunately for them, and also people who are in the process, their applications will all be rejected. So you need to be able to have the residence permit before this rule came into effect. So whatever applications that they have received afterwards are in that process, it will be rejected. And if your applications is rejected due to this quota system, don't worry, your money, your fee will be refunded to you. So that's a little bit of good thing. So what stays the same? So the new rules do not affect the people who have already granted the residence permit. Also their accompanying family members will not be affected. This will only be affected to the people who are in the process or have not received their residence permit before the 7th of October. So that's an important thing to remember. So there's no point applying for new application or not seeking an authorization to work here in Denmark as a nurse until 2027. So why these changes? Why Denmark suddenly implemented this new law, making it difficult for non-EU nurses? There are many reasons, but the important one here is they are talking about this balance between healthcare workers coming from non-EU countries and in Denmark's future staffing problems, because they think that there will be no shortage of nurses in the future. So that's why they are limiting this number, and then probably in 2027 they will start receiving this application and granting residence permit, but until then they are keeping this on hold. So this is a major shift for anyone who's planning to come to Denmark or in the process. So if you are getting affected by this, please let me know in the comments so I can answer your questions, and do like to this video and subscribe to my channel. Earlier I mentioned that there's a little bit of good news. So this quota is set only for nurses, not midwives, not dentists, not doctors, not physiotherapists. So all the other healthcare professionals are fine. This will only be affected for people who are seeking an authorization to work as a nurse here in Denmark. So it's very important. If you are in other field, other healthcare profession than nursing, then you are fine. You can still apply for authorization. And I have made different videos about different professions, so do check them out. And if you have any questions, do let me know in these comments.